Welcome back to the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Apple or Spotify, please give me a 5-star rating. It supports the channel and it doesn't cost you anything. This content is brought to you by Uphold, which is a great platform that allows you to buy, sell, and earn cryptocurrencies. And a really cool feature that Uphold has is you can trade between anything to anything. What do I mean by that? You can trade between different assets. So you can trade between cryptocurrencies, precious metals, and equities. So you can go between gold and Bitcoin. So no other crypto platform that I know of offers that type of feature. So it's really unique to Uphold. And I've been a user of Uphold for years. I've interviewed the founder, the CEO, and many other folks. And they have 10 plus million users, 200 plus cryptocurrencies, and they're available in over 150 countries. And Uphold is one of the only exchanges out there that still offers XRP. Why do I highlight that? Is because they are not scared and they have their own lawyers and they're ahead of the curve in a lot of different things as it relates to other exchanges. And they still list XRP despite the SEC lawsuit and other exchanges removing trading functionality for XRP. So kudos to them. And once again, a great platform, trusted exchange I've been using for years. Their mobile app is great as well. It's a very simple and easy to use platform. And I still use them to buy, sell, and trade XRP and also other cryptocurrencies. And once again, great platform. If you'd like to learn more, please check out the link in the description. All right, let's jump into the news, guys. We had some very big news from the Fed this week, and it kind of went under the radar for the most part. I didn't see major news outlets covering it. But on August 16th, the Federal Reserve released a press release, and the details are as such. U.S. Fed says cryptocurrencies present opportunities to banks, customers, and the whole financial system. And you can see the title of the press release is Federal Reserve Board provides additional information for banking organizations engaging or seeking to engage in crypto asset related activities. And here is some of the details. The Federal Reserve Board on Tuesday provided additional information for banking organizations engaging or seeking to engage in crypto asset related activities. The emerging crypto asset sector presents potential opportunities to banking organizations, their customers, and the overall financial system. What a statement, my friends. The emerging crypto asset sector. So we're still early. You see what's happening here, right, my friends? We are now having discussions on the government level, on central banks level, right? And that is important. That is going to lay out the infrastructure, the pipeline, the highways, and the on and off ramps and so forth for this token economy that we are headed to. They said, however, crypto related activities may also pose risks related to safety and soundness, consumer protection, and financial stability. Of course, with every disruptive technology, there comes risk. So that's nothing new. With the internet came risk, right? And we see the governments did put guardrails in place, but they allowed the innovation to flourish. So they're giving the full holistic perspective on crypto, right? They said it presents opportunities for banking organizations, their customers, and the overall financial system. So the technology is here to stay. What they're going to do is make sure that it's not being used for nefarious activities, for illegal, bad activities, right? That makes sense. So it says here, the supervisory letter issued today outlines the steps board supervised banks should take prior to engaging in crypto asset related activities, such as assessing whether such activities are legally permissible and determining whether any regulatory filings are required. Additionally, the supervisory letter states the board supervised banking organizations should notify the board prior to engaging in crypto asset related activities. So we're talking to the big banks who are heavily connected to the Fed, right? We're not talking about your local credit union or something like that. So I hope you see what's happening here, that this is a topic of discussion. This is being reviewed. They're telling the big banks to, hey, you want to participate? No problem. This presents opportunities. Just make sure you file your proper forms and regulatory approval letters and yada, yada, right, with us. and all that jazz. The same thing that exists in the traditional financial world. So the supervisory letter also emphasizes that the board supervised banking organizations should have adequate systems and controls in place to conduct crypto asset related activities in a safe and sound manner prior to commencing such activities. This is amazing, guys. And when I see things like this, it makes me so bullish. So once again, this is from this past week, August 16th, 2022. It's happening. Despite the bear market, despite the bankruptcies and the crashes and the price being down, the Federal Reserve and governments around the world are moving towards crypto. They are helping to build, once again, the infrastructure, the on and off ramps, the piping, the railing, whatever you want to call it. The infrastructure is being set up for the token economy that we're headed to. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say token economy, I'm talking everything on the blockchain, cryptocurrencies, digital assets, NFTs, tokenized assets, tokenized securities, central bank digital currencies, stable coins. That is where we're headed to, my friends. And every major platform will have a token. Your Amazons, your Reddits, and Reddit already has their token, your Facebooks, your social networks, where you will benefit. You will have an equitable share like never before. And I'm not talking about stocks. I'm talking about the native tokens which can grow in value as that network or that platform grows, guys, and you can get the financial benefits. That is where we're headed to. And I hope you see it. I hope you see what's happening here. And we're in the big leagues now. The Federal Reserve, President Biden did a crypto executive order earlier this year, right? Things are moving ahead, slower than we want, of course. We're still waiting on crypto regulations, and we're going to talk about the SEC later, but this is so bullish. Now, here's something interesting, though, with the FDIC, and that's the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. I'm not sure what this is, and this could be one person. And remember, there's a bit of Democrat and Republican. There's some politics here and bureaucrats who are part of government, because we see it, for example, with Gary Gensler, right? He's trying to slow down the crypto as much as possible, but not everybody's on the same page with him. Like I just interviewed Commissioner Hester Peirce, right? If you haven't seen that interview, be sure to check it out. Congressman Tom Emmer, who oversees the SEC, and he's called out the SEC. The reason I bring that up is that sometimes you still have people in these seats in government who are look, people get lobbied, they get bribed, right? They get campaign donations, and they do the bidding of the people who are giving them the money, right? Well, shout out to Senator Pat Toomey, and I'm actually trying to get an interview with him. He claims a whistleblower has he claims he has whistleblower communications showing the federal banking regulator tried to prevent banks from doing business with lawful crypto companies. So I think this goes to maybe the person who's leading the FDIC, because we had seen one person from the FDIC talked about it a couple of months ago, or was it late last year? I think it was late last year, saying they eventually crypto banks will be FDIC insured and all that stuff, right? So good to see that this is being called out. So in a letter directed to acting FDIC Director Martin Grunberg, Toomey wrote that he had heard from an affected parties and whistleblower communications that claimed the federal bank regulator had tried to deter banks from doing business with lawful crypto-related companies, even though providing services to these companies is not illegal. Toomey asked the regulator to confirm whether any FDIC official had indeed asked banks to not do business with crypto firms, and if so, explain why. So we'll see what comes out of this. And we'll see if, there's bureaucrats, there's people in some of these offices, just like Gary Gensler, right? You may have a growing number of bipartisan members of Congress that are supporting crypto, a lot of regulators at the SEC, CFTC who are on board with crypto, but you may have the people leading that, not on board, right? And we've seen it with Brad Sherman, Gary Gensler, Elizabeth Warren. We've seen obviously this guy, Martin Grunberg, who seems to be not trying, even though it's not illegal, trying to deter banks from doing stuff. But they can't stop disruption. They cannot stop it. It will find a way. It will continue. And we've seen that time and time again. And something else the FDIC recently did they ordered crypto exchange FTX US, four others to cease misleading claims. The five companies made false representations suggesting crypto products might be FDIC insured. Now, if exchanges and different companies are saying that they are FDIC insured and they're not, well, clearly they shouldn't be doing that, right? I think that's the rules. They need to abide by that. So these folks were sent a cease and desist order. So I'm actually surprised FTX US is on this, but look, even some folks called out Voyager, and I talked about it with Congressman Tom Emmer in my interview with him, where he said, why weren't they sending this to Voyager last year or the year before, right? Why all of a sudden when things go bad, then they're like, see, these crypto companies are doing bad things, but it was just simply there. You could have went out and checked it before. So now they are like catching up and trying to do this. They should have been doing that the whole time. And once again, if these companies are doing something wrong, they should be penalized. If they're not doing something wrong, leave them alone, right? It's pretty simple. It's common sense. So, and nevertheless, all this back and forth is just a cleanup towards the token economy, because the head of the snake here, the Federal Reserve, is on board, right? We see their statements, we see their meeting. Remember last year, Fed Chair Jerome Powell said there's no plan to ban Bitcoin or crypto. And BlackRock just entered the game. So if you know if you see BlackRock is entering the arena, right? You know the green lights there. They are a huge organization, trillions of dollars of assets under management. They own a lot of companies, a lot of homes. I think many of you may have seen on the news that they've been buying up homes across the United States. So they are the whale of whales. And trust me when I tell you, the legal and compliance department is probably 1,000 people, right? And they're not going to just go partner with Coinbase and launch a Bitcoin spot trust, right? They got the green light. They're ready to go. So it's just a matter of time. We got to be patient, but things are moving ahead. Now, we were just talking about, of course, the SEC and Gary Gensler, and attorney John Deaton, who I've interviewed multiple times on the channel, who's representing 72,000 XRP holders in the SEC lawsuit, fires back at Gary Gensler and the SEC over crypto regulation. So Gary Gensler has been putting out his gospel, so to speak, talking about how the crypto should not be regulated differently. And he's so off base there, because never in the history of the world have we had globally distributed networks where tokens exist on those networks and blockchains, and they are held by not just members of the United States, but other people in other countries. And things that happen overseas can affect the price of those tokens. So he's totally off base here, but this is just his power grab, right, guys? So I'm not going to read through the full article. I think you guys can certainly go read it, but it's great to see John Deaton doing this. And this is the pressure I keep telling you guys about. Make your videos, write your articles, write your blog posts, tweet, send your representatives emails and messages, call them, do what you got to do so we can stop bureaucrats like Gary Gensler, who are trying to put draconian measures in place to stifle innovation because he's trying to protect incumbent banks. So here's the title of the article: Gary Gensler's gross SEC overreach. The targeting of cryptocurrency reveals Gensler's intentions to expand the power of the SEC. And that's what it is, power, my friends. And we've heard that folks had reported that even members of the SEC, his staff, complain about Gary Gensler. His agenda, his motives are not so much about pushing the SEC's own rules and trying to regulate the market, but his own personal agenda, his own personal resume. We've heard he wants the treasury job. So you see what's happening here, right, guys? So great to see John Deaton coming out, pushing back on this. Once again, I'm not going to read through it. I think a lot of you know about this situation, but I highly recommend you go read it. It's on Fox Business. So really great exposure here. And this is what we need to keep doing, guys. I don't know how many of you saw my interview with Raoul Pal back 8 months ago, and we talked about it. And his exact words are, and he's a macro guy, we have to fight. And it's not a physical fight. I'm not talking about punching people or attacking people, but rather spreading the facts and exposing the lies and the corruption of the SEC. And that is what we have to do. We have to keep our government accountable. They are accountable and responsible to us. We put them in power. They are running off our tax dollars, right? So just remember that, guys. They are accountable to you. So your voice needs to be heard. Go out there and use social media to your advantage. So now moving ahead, as mentioned before, I interviewed Commissioner Hester Peirce of the SEC. If you haven't seen that, please go check it out, guys. I asked her all the tough questions. Representative Bill Huenza, if I'm saying that right, and I apologize if I'm butchering his name. I'm trying to get an interview with him, but he replied to my tweet, with my interview with Hester Peirce. He says, "I agree with Hester Peirce. Regulation of digital assets should not be a partisan issue. Congress needs to provide a regulatory framework that is workable and protects investors. Gary Gensler and the SEC should not use regulation by enforcement to craft policy or make deals." So once again, more members of Congress awakening to what's happening, that this technology is here to stay. This is the future. And Gary Gensler and the SEC and these folks are trying to roadblock it and use draconian laws and regulation by enforcement, which is asinine to control the market, guys. Finally, I want to share something that Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, had to say. He said, not widely reported, but there has been significant progress on crypto regulatory clarity over the past year amongst G20. So you're talking about G20 countries, of course. Lots more green and yellow here compared to a year ago. So on this chart, as of August 2022, the red represents regulatory process not initiated. Yellow is regulation underway. The green is regulation in place, and the what do you call it? The ban sign, if you want to call it that, is prohibition. So we see here China across the board, and the only thing they've green lighted here is their CBDC. But he's saying that there's much more progress, guys. Yeah, I'm sure if you look back in 2017, what this looked like, it was probably all red or the prohibition sign, right? But we're seeing a move towards crypto regulations, framework, tax, AML, travel rule, stablecoin, CBDC, the token economy. That is what we're headed to. So he says emerging consensus will drive much greater adoption. He also stated here, as long as we as an industry can help ensure rules are sensible and help preserve innovation potential while protecting consumers, this will be a very good for increasing crypto adoption. He's absolutely right. So we're moving in the right direction, guys. We just got to fight these people who are trying to block us, like the Elizabeth Warrens, the Gary Genslers, the Brad Shermans, my goodness, right? And get past these people who are bought off by different folks who are lobbying them, and they're fighting on behalf of those folks who don't like crypto because crypto is disrupting them, taking money out of their pockets, eliminating a lot of middlemen, and changing finance. And they don't like that, right? A lot of these guys have been in power and making tons of money off the old system. Well, there's a change now, and they're going to lose that money, but that is disruption, right? The horse and buggy people, they got disrupted by the cars. They didn't like that, right? They fought it. And even people, when electricity was first coming around, the candle makers didn't like that, right? So go back in history, you'll see it over and over. Look at what the internet did. And there were people who, like Paul Krugman, were saying the internet would not be as more important or relevant than the fax machine. Boy, what a statement. He still gets roasted to this day about that. But you have your naysayers, you have your people who are trying to stop us, but they can't stop progress. They can't stop the disruptive technology. It will find a way. That is how it's been through the centuries of human civilization, right, guys? If you know your history, things keep progressing. Yes, there are moments in time where there's regression, sure, because humans who are flawed are part of the world. So we see regression at some points, but overall a movement towards progression and different technologies, the way the world works changes. That's just how it is. And this is this, true for crypto and blockchain. It's here to stay. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button, share this video, and I will talk to you all later.